Hi everybody, I have an exciting show today. We are talking about how to slow aging with intelligent hydration. I have the author of Hydrate coming on, Tracy Dews. So I'll let you guys start coming on. Happy Saturday, hello. Hi everybody. Exciting show today. We're talking about how to reverse aging with intelligent hydration. I've got the author of the book Hydrate coming on, Tracy Dews. I'm gonna see if I can get her on here now. Hold on one second, let's see. Hello, happy Saturday. Okay, let you guys start coming on. Hello, hi, happy Saturday, everybody. I know I wasn't there on Sunday. I was on a plane. To Cabo. I just got back, so I missed the Sunday live. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing a live demo, so make sure that you're here again at 11, and that will go to my subscription club. So let me see if I can see if Tracy's on here. I don't see her hop up yet. So listen, I can answer any questions that you guys might have based on like the past stuff that we've done on these live shows. So hold on, let me see. I'm going to invite her one more time. There we go. Invite. Okay, let's see. Request to join. Hello. Okay. Ooh, I just got back from Cabo. It's so nice. Oh, she's unable to join. I'm not sure why. It's so nice to be able to just step away for even a couple of days. Wasn't long enough, but I feel a little bit more energized and ready to go. So we're talking today about water. And if you guys don't know about this one thing, I'll do this before she comes on. There's this thing called the Giga calculator, where if you're wondering like, how much water should I be drinking? We're different human beings. We have different activity levels. Men need different kinds of water than women, or different amounts. They have more muscle mass. So all of these things play a factor. And so if you go to gigacalculator.com, G-I-G-A, so gigacalculator.com, you put in your age, your gender, your height, your weight, your activity level, and it will tell you how many ounces that you should be drinking. It's not like it was in the old days where it's like 8 ounces of water a day. We're not one human being is created like the other. Okay, let me see if I can get her on here. Otherwise, we're just going to have a Q&A today. But let me see if I can ask her one more time. Invite. I don't see her yet. Okay, does anybody have any requests? I can't speak Korean. Man, I wish I could. Oh, there you are. Hi, Tracy.
Hi. Hold on.
How are you? I don't see your face, but I can hear you.
Uh-oh. Okay, well, let me...
Wait, flip the camera around maybe.
Yep.
There we go.
Oh.
No.
Wait.
Not quite. Almost. We're almost there. Hi. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm really good. I've been following you for a while. I've heard you on a bunch of different podcasts. And I thought, like you say, water is so important. We're not just talking about how much, but we're talking about the quality of the water that we're drinking, right? And so you guys, everybody, this is Tracy Dews. She is the author of Hydrate. The last name looks like Does.
Yeah.
It's UHS. So let me just ask
It does look like Does.
It does look like Does, but it's Tracy Dews, and we're going to get to the bottom of like what is the big thing about water. Now, some of us know and some of us don't, but I want you to talk to us like we have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Here, Tracy. So lay it on us.
My research is around, I call it intelligent hydration, and understanding how to preserve youth through intelligent hydration. And I love this topic because we all know we should drink water, and it's important to drink water, but that's only a piece of the story. Because what type of water we drink, the physics of the water, the chemistry of the water, the bioenergetics of the water, probably so much more that we're not even aware of yet, impacts how our cells are hydrated and that osmotic balance between our intracellular and extracellular fluids. And our body's made of 99% water molecules, which you would wonder, why are we not a puddle of water on the floor? Or why do we hear that we're 70% or 50 to 90%, depending on, when you're born, you're about 90%, you die at about 15%. So aging is a slow dehydration process.
Wait, let's stop right there. And this to me is why I wanted to have you on. Not only do I want to make sure, am I drinking the right stuff, which I'm sure I'm not after listening to you a couple different times, but as we age, we are slowly dehydrating. And there's a couple of reasons why that is. Some of it is our cells are not able to utilize that water, but also we lose our thirst detectors in our brain. Yeah. So oftentimes I talk about mistaking hunger for thirst, but as we age, the mechanism in our brain that tells us we're thirsty diminishes. And so you're seeing a lot of people, older people, that are having to go to the emergency room because of kidneys and because they're chronically dehydrated, their body's not telling them. Okay, go again.
No, you're right. And there's also something like irreversible dehydration. Our body can get to a point where it can become irreversible. And as we age, you look at the elderly, and a big thing is like, their joints are getting stiffer. There's more inflammation in the body. There's less vitality. It's like less energy. Yeah. The hormones are getting out of balance. And almost every single biochemical process that happens in the body is dependent on water. Water is the conduit for a lot of that energy that happens in the body. And so those electrical impulses depend on hydration. And we are not a purified water solution. We are a saline solution, like a mineral solution. Rene Quinton in 1895 discovered that the ocean's plasma is identical to what our blood plasma should look like. So when we drink water, drinking filtered water alone isn't in resonance with our body's natural fluids. So it's taking a lot of work for our body to convert that filtered or distilled water into the solution that is resonant with our body. So that's taking a lot of energy away from having healthy hair, beautiful skin, energy to go to the gym, just to like think coherently. That all takes energy. And so if you want to preserve energy, we can do that. We can make our bodies more efficient when we drink a water that's more resonant with our bodies, so that we can utilize that energy for something else, as opposed to converting. Since our body is almost all water molecules, our body's spending a lot of time converting that. So what is the right kind of water that we want to drink? The right kind of water is, it's well mineralized, well aerated, has the right amount of hydrogen, liberated hydrogen in it, H2. It's structured in a coherent structure. Coherence is very important, and a lot of that has to do with what the waters come in contact with. So water is very intelligent. It's something that we think about, oh, it's just this liquid thing. Is it pure? And me as a child, that's what I learned. Is the water pure? That's all that matters.
Yeah. And is it going to make us sick if we drink it? And for many, many years, that was the standard, because that's where our science was. It was just like, what are we seeing in the water? What microbes are we seeing? What bacteria are we seeing? And how do we get that clean so that we can, we're not exposing ourselves to the toxins and things like that? And how are we keeping ourselves to where we're not getting sick from the water? But water has made leaps and bounds in terms of what we know about it, how where our body utilizes it. I know that you said we're 99% water. Weight wise, we're about 60 to 70%, because our bones weigh more, our muscles weigh more. But in terms of like the molecules, 99% of our molecules, right? Is that about right?
Yeah. No, you explained that really well. You explained that very well, because a lot of people, that can be confusing. So by mass, we're between 50 and 90%, depending on your age. But at the molecular level, we are 99%. And like you said, because muscles and protein all of, like, those things are, they're bigger molecules. Water molecules are quite small. Hydrogen is the smallest atomic, weight on the periodic scale. It's small.
Okay, so let's get to the bottom of this. So, and I really want to talk about, listen, if we were all wealthy, we'd be drinking water out of glass bottles that was imported straight from like a mountain stream. But I want to get to the bottom of like, what not only is the safe water, what is like the minimum criteria that we should be reaching, and then how can we reach further down like the requirements, so that we're getting the optimal amount of hydration. So let's just start with the bare minimum. What do we need from our water?
Well, the bare minimum, like you said, is clean. We are very fortunate that we live in a country that we do have options. There are people that live in places where they're just trying to focus on water that doesn't have, microbes and protozoa and, different things that are going to kill them, giardia. Like, they're focused on the chemistry and like what is inside of that water in order to survive.
Right.
We live in a country where we get to choose and we have more choices. So yes, we want the water to be clean of caustic, toxic contamination and microbes. So we're gonna want water that is filtered and clean that way. But we can't just stop there if we have the option. We get to break the water down by taking out all of the contamination, but then we want to build it back up. And we want to build it back up by mineralizing it so that our cells aren't working so hard to pull minerals from our body in order to make this solution coherent with our body's natural chemistry. So if we can get, re-mineralize the water and mineralize it in a way that's a balanced set of minerals. And that's why I like to refer to Rene Quinton, because in 1895, he discovered that the ocean's plasma is identical to our body's blood plasma. So we can look at nature to see how we want to be mineralizing this water. So we can look to the ocean.
Yeah, so Tracy, is it basically that we all, it depends on what, your religious background and all that, but we all evolved from, life started in the ocean. And so that's why our cells on a molecular level is very similar to the saline that we have in the salt that we have in the ocean. So my question is this: we came up with all of these great ways with reverse osmosis and with the carbon filters to be able to turn on the sink and have fresh water coming out. You guys take a second for that, because whoever did that shit, that's
my mentor and my friend, Robert Slovak. We get to thank him for having reverse osmosis in our homes. Him and his brother, Jack, were the guys that really helped bring these reverse osmosis membranes into our homes so that we can now filter water at home.
Okay.
And it's an advancement in science and technology that we can be very grateful for, that in our own homes we can have clean filtered water. But now we're learning through quantum physics and all this science as it's progressed that water is far more than just its chemistry. And now we have an opportunity, because of what we're learning, to upgrade the water even better. And what I'm learning is when we address the physics and the biochemistry, we actually need to drink less water, because our bodies become more efficient and they're able to utilize that water. It's able to get into the cells. It's able to do what it needs to do, hydrate us. There's more of a balance, and we don't need as much. And we're also not drinking water that we're just peeing out and it's just flushing through us, because there's different types of waters for different things. If you just want to drink a distilled filtered water, that's wonderful for flushing. Like if you want to just detox and flush things out, but it's also not just flushing out toxins, it's flushing out the minerals in your body. And that's why people have died from drinking too much water, because they're flushing out too much of the minerals in their body and depleting themselves. And so we want to be more efficient and smarter about the way that we hydrate. And hydration isn't just about drinking water. It's far more than that. That's why I wrote the book Hydrate. It's the 9 pillars of health, things that we do in our daily life that upgrade our hydration. Because not only do we drink water, but our cells make metabolic water. They take the hydrogen from our fat cells or the things that we're eating, and the oxygen from the air and inside our body, and the hydrogen and oxygen come together inside of our cells, this metabolic process. We're making metabolic water. And if we're efficient, we can make about 1 liter to 1.5 liters of metabolic water per day. And so we want to focus on getting our mitochondria and our cells more efficient, like grounding to the earth, getting full spectrum sunlight, moving our joints, moving our bodies. These are the things that bring coherence into our water body. They make our cells more efficient. They hydrate us. So hydration is far above just drinking water. And that's why I love to educate on it, because we often think that hydration is just water comes to mind. Yeah. And it's more than that, far more than that.
So I have a question before we get into like how water has now upped its game in terms of the science behind it and how to adequately hydrate. With the technology, it seems to me, with technology comes the good things. We've got fresh, clean water that we can turn on the sink. But in doing that, to get that water to that point, what if are we stripping it of things? Are we making it to where it's drinkable, but it's not optimal? And then if that's the case, how do we now get to where we're drinking optimal water?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're so right. That's what we're doing. We're basically breaking the water down, stripping it of essentials that we need. So when the water's going through, let's take a reverse osmosis, an RO system, for example. That's a very common filtration system that you use at home. What happens is the water is going through these different membranes, and water is so intelligent. It's taking on some of the structure of the membranes that it's going through. So it's holding on to this information of the process that this water is going through. So not only is it changing the structure of the way nature made it, so the physics of the way it is, like from a natural spring, to now it's taking on information from these membranes. So at a physics level, it's being changed. At a chemical level, it's being changed, because not only are we taking out the contamination, but we're taking out the minerals in the water as well. So now we have this incoherently structured water that's lacking minerals, lacking coherent structure, and our bodies can take that water in, but it's just going to do a lot of work and take a lot of energy to mineralize it, coherently structure it, and get it to where it's resonant with our body. So we can do this. We can remineralize and coherently structure the water so that our bodies don't have to do it. So the way we do it is we maybe filter the water with a reverse osmosis system, and then take a really nice set of minerals and add that back into the water. You don't want too much, you don't want too little, just the right amount. And that's why I wrote the book, because it gives a lot of information on these details.
Yeah.
But you want to put a balanced set of minerals back into the water. And then I love vortexing the water, because if we look to nature, anytime you're at a living spring, the water is being vortexed. It's moving, it's spinning, and that's what gives the water that life. If you've ever been to a body of water where it just sits stagnant and doesn't move, what happens? It starts to grow. A lot of things.
I'm gonna say there's so many things nowadays in LA. It's like all about the mosquitoes. You know, that's like stagnant water is like not good. But before we get into the vortexing of it, you mentioned something about adding the minerals back in. So we already in our homes have a reverse osmosis that's giving us, and filtration systems that we are able to drink out of the sink. So that's already happening for us. That's like in every home, literally across America, correct? We all have.
I mean, not every home. A lot of people
yeah.
drink out of the tap, which is interesting, or like a Brita filter or some sort of carbon filter that's on their refrigerator. You'd be surprised. Like, I was surprised once I got into this, how many people just kind of drink tap water or or out of the refrigerator, really don't think a lot about it.
Tracy, I grew up on a farm. We used to drink out of a hose.
Yeah.
Okay. That was like when we were outdoors all day, we didn't come in for water. You turned a hose on, and then the hose had been sitting in the sunlight for all that time. So, of course, we're leaching all the rubber out of the hose. I'm probably full of so much of those kind of things. But for most people nowadays, you can take the filter, you can take your water that's still safe but not optimal and throw it into like a Brita filter to even strip out more of it, more of the minerals, more of the toxins.
Brita, now this is where it gets interesting, because depending on where you live, there's going to be different type of contamination in your water, depending on where your water supply is. So depending on the contamination is going to depend on the type of filtration that you need. Some places where you live, a carbon filter is sufficient, and that's all you need. But other places, there's like trihalomethanes, there's a lot of different type of contamination in the water that is really, that we want to filter out, that might take more than a carbon filter.
So I had somebody just said, Juliana just said Brita filters don't work. How would somebody go about understanding what filter they need in their home based on their location?
So I would say that, you know, you can pull up a water report and see what's in your city's water. And then from there, you can determine what type of filter you need. But most people aren't going to want to do that. And most people aren't going to understand it. So I say the simplest thing is to get a reverse osmosis filter, because that is a very comprehensive filter. They're not expensive. They're something that, you know, anybody can have access to. You can get it on Amazon, and you know that you're going to be getting a sufficient, like, you're going to be getting out the toxic caustic chemistry of the water that you want to take out. So then you don't have to fuss with what's in my water, what's not in my water system, which is the best filter. Just get a reverse osmosis, because a carbon filter is okay in some cases, but not all.
So when you're saying a reverse osmosis system, is that something that's for a home use, or is that one of the pitchers again? I just wanted to clarify this for everybody.
Reverse osmosis is usually, it can be on the counter, under the counter. There's many different options. Just look for RO filter, reverse osmosis filter, and then that's going to be like the type of membranes that really filter out a lot of caustic, toxic contamination. Like 99.9% of what's in there will be filtered out.
Okay.
But like we just talked about, that's the first step. Is filtering the chemistry of the water. But now we want to address building the chemistry back up.
Number 2. So we want building the chemistry back up. What's the first step in that?
Well, it depends on your budget. So
good answer.
You know, there's going to be good, better, best, in my opinion. So like I referred to Rene Quinton and the research that he did in understanding the ocean's chemistry. Well, that has 78 trace elements in it, all in perfect proportion to what our body needs exactly to resonate with our body's natural rhythm and chemistry. So I love Rene Quinton's supplement of, they're called Quinton minerals, Quinton. And I can put in the comments here where you can get it. I actually have a online store that has all of my favorite vortexers and minerals and everything in it that's, you know, approved by my team and our research and what I use at home and refer to most of my patients. So sanctuarysd.com is where you can find those minerals. And, you know, those minerals are going to cost you about $1.50 a day. So far less than that Starbucks that you're buying. And I love
it. Every time somebody says to me, oh my gosh, you spend so much money on skincare, you spend so much money on this, and I just think it's about prioritizing your health, because I would rather spend money on my health than I would on what tank top I'm wearing. You know what I mean?
And it shows on you. You know, you're radiant, your body just radiates light, and you have your energy, and I mean, it shows that you do that. And I think that we have a choice. you know, in life. We get to make choices. We're sovereign beings. And that's the beauty of life, is we get to wake up every day and go, hey, I have a choice. Do I want to sleep in, or do I want to wake up and meditate, or go for a walk? And, you know, everything is. And so we do get to choose. And for myself personally, I get excited at the fact that I get to choose what type of water I'm going to put in my body, what I'm going to do with the water. And I get excited about it because I know that every single molecule I'm putting in my body, I'm replacing for another molecule. And do I want to upgrade this water body, or do I want to downgrade it based on my choices? And they all stack up.
Totally. So let's hear the, in terms of now remineralizing, re-putting the things in the water. Let's hear an economical way to do it. Let's kind of, if you can, like a mid-range way to do it. And then what is like the you know, the Tracy way of doing it? What's like the best of the best? Because we've got people from all socioeconomic backgrounds, priorities. So let's give some choices here.
So on my website, sanctuarysd.com, I have all of my top choices for vortexers and minerals. And I would say Quinton hypertonic minerals are my like gold standard of the very best minerals you can get in your body, where you don't have to think about, are they balanced? Am I getting too much of this mineral, too little of that mineral, not enough of this trace element? It's all there in perfect proportion, cold processed. But not only that, it's harvested from the ocean floor, the plankton bloom. So there's a very strong bioenergetic profile inside of there that's also addressing the physics of the water, upgrading our epigenetic potential. I mean, it's far beyond the chemistry. And so that's why I love it. If you want to just focus on the chemistry and have a less expensive approach, there is a salt that I really like, that because you want to get the ocean's minerals. So you can use a sea salt, but a lot of time the sea salt is either contaminated from where it's harvested from. Like there's a lot of heavy metals in salts now. It's also, you know, stripped down. Sometimes the way that it's processed, all the minerals are stripped out, or a lot of them. Not all the minerals, because it is a mineral itself, but a lot of the minerals have been stripped out through the process. So it's something that you want to be aware of, what type of salt you are choosing. And there's a really special salt that I've been testing out, and I want to learn more about it before I share about it. But if you want to connect with me, let me know, because I'll know in the next couple weeks once we get the reports back. But I think this is the one that I really want to suggest. But for now, just find a sea salt that's the least filtered salt, and you can add that into your water, and that will help.
So that's what I was going to ask. Like, if you normally, so the trace minerals that you're talking about, you would put them into the water. I'm sure there's directions on the thing. But what if you're somebody that, like, you have an amazing kick-ass vitamin mineral supplement? Does it necessarily need to go mix in?
It does, because an electrolyte, the actual word electrolyte means a mineral in a liquid solution. So you need to be putting it inside of the water in order for that to be changing the chemistry of the water, so that when you ingest it, it's able to go like through into the cells, so that you have this osmotic balance. If you're drinking a water that's void of minerals, most of that water is just going to pass through your body. Your body is going to utilize it to hydrate, but it's going to take a lot of work to convert it, to put the minerals in it, to change the structure of it so it's a coherent structure. Because inside your cells, that cytoplasm of your cell is like a gel-like structure. Gerald Pollack at the University of Washington discovered a fourth phase of water. So what we've known our whole lives is there's liquid, vapor, and solid, but what he discovered is there's a fourth phase, which is a gel-like structure, and that's what our cells are. And this is very important, that our cells stay in this gel-like coherent structure, because through toxins, non-native electromagnetic frequencies, stress, that gel-like structure we're seeing can start to degrade and become incoherent and almost like look like it's like liquefying and not as structured and coherent. And that's when our cells are not able to effectively communicate with each other, so that, because our cells have this divine intelligence, they know what to do, but if they can't communicate effectively, then they might not know exactly what they're supposed to do, or they know what they're supposed to do, but there's something inhibiting them being able to do the job.
This is a very good point. So I want to come back to it and try to wrap my head around it. And maybe in doing that, somebody else who's listening here it might be easier for them to wrap their head around as well. So we've got water that we've known about in 3 separate forms, right? We've got the gas, we've got the liquid, we've got the ice. And now what they're finding is that form of water that's in our cell, in the cytoplasm of our cell, that kind of liquid that's in our cell, there's a 4th form, which is a gel form. And it's when you are exposed to toxins in the earth, when you're depleted of minerals, when you've got all of these electromagnetic forces, our cell phones, our TVs, our laptops, all of these things that are raining down, they're affecting us on a cellular level with that 4th phase that is the cytoplasm within the cell. Is that correct?
Wow, very well stated. Yeah,
Does that make sense to everybody who just tuned in? So it's not just about what we're drinking, it's about how is your lifestyle affecting the water molecules that are already in our body.
Exactly.
This is key.
Yes.
So it's not, so hydration doesn't only then mean what you're drinking, but how are you staying properly hydrated also means, are you grounding? Are you sleeping? What's your stress? Yeah. What is your other oxidative stress that you're being exposed to? All of this is super important.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what my book Hydrate goes through, is those 9 pillars of health, and how it's about optimizing our cells, optimizing our full body. And how do we do that? And we've been taught just a fast set of the truth that, oh, you need to drink enough water. Well, that's like only a piece of the truth. And if we don't have that full education, or at least a comprehensive education on how to hydrate, then we're not going to be doing it well. Yeah. And so we're working harder, not smarter. You know, we're maybe drinking, like, I'll meet people who are like, oh, I drink a gallon or more of water and I still feel thirsty. And and then I ask them, I'm like, what kind of water are you drinking? Well, I don't know. I just get some filtered water at the store. And it's like, okay.
And
now we can
ask, what's your metabolic health? Are you possibly pre-diabetic? Because there's a lot of symptoms of like chronic thirst if your blood sugar levels are off, but also if you're drinking the wrong kind of water. There's certain waters that I drink that I can feel, because I'm super in tune with my body, but I can feel that water wasn't good for me, or that left me wanting more of that. It didn't quench my thirst. So a lot of it, you said, was the minerals that we're lacking in our water. We could be, just a thought, because I know we do this with food. If we're lacking nutrients in our food, we're eating highly processed foods, we're eating more in an attempt to fill in the gaps, the nutritional gaps with our nutrients. If we're drinking water that is so depleted and our body is wanting those minerals back, we're just drinking and drinking and drinking chronic thirst, and it's not really being effective.
Yeah, I love how you connected those two. That's a really nice analogy. It is, because we can be overfed and undernourished.
We could be overhydrated, but not. We lost your sound. I love that. I mean, I don't love that, but it makes perfect sense.
It's a lack of education, really, just proper education. I mean, there's people out there, but this is a great example of showing, just because something is water doesn't mean that it's going to hydrate you. And why is that? Because what else is in the water? What's not in the water? What's the physics of the water? What's the chemistry of the water? This can make a huge difference. You could be drinking I know people that drink sweet tea all day and think, oh, I should be hydrated because it's mostly water. It just has a little bit of this botanical in it. Well, that botanical is changing the chemistry of the water. It's changing the physics of the water. It's dramatically changing how this water is going to impact your cellular.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're starting to add. We already know we've done reverse osmosis. You've given us to go to sanctuarysd.com. We can look at some of your favorite ways to do that. Now we're talking about the minerals that we need to add back into the water, because once we've purified it, once we've made it drinkable, now we've had to strip all this shit out of it. We putting it back in. So another way is the minerals that you have, the trace minerals you have on your website. They can go and look for that. But what are some other options? We now know, which I was falsely under the impression that if I drank water and I took my kick-ass multivitamin and minerals, that it would be the same, and it's not. So what are some other options that gives us a little bit more economical price
Well,
point?
I'm glad you said that, because that makes sense, right? Like, you would think that, right? If I need minerals and I take minerals and then I do the water separate, like, that should make sense. It's all kind of balancing out. And it does to some extent, because you're putting the minerals in your body, and when your body needs to draw minerals in order to structure and mineralize the water that you're drinking that's filtered, it is helping, but your body still has to do a lot of work to convert that water. So why not do it before we drink it, so that our bodies have that energy to utilize for other things, like building that beautiful skin that you want, and those bright eyes that you want, and those, you know, the white teeth and the luscious hair and the healthy organs and the juicy joints and all of those things that we all want. Why don't we help ourselves out so that our bodies can do that more efficiently by drinking a water that's already coherently structured and mineralized?
Okay.
And so I know for people, like, it can feel like a lot and confusing, and that's why I decided to write the book, is because it just walks you through the steps, like holds you by the hand, gives you that measurements and the actual tools and things to use. So, because it can feel confusing, but it doesn't have to be. It can be simple. Like, if you're one of those people that just buys water and you're going to go to the grocery store tomorrow, the biggest upgrade you could do is look on the back of the bottle and go, where is this water sourced? Is it filtered? Because filter is another word for tap water.
Yeah.
So is it filtered, or is it spring water that's coming from a natural source? You can upgrade right there just by doing that. Pick naturally sourced spring water, because that
naturally sourced spring water, that's what you want to do.
That's what you want to do instead of filtered. So that is already has minerals in it. It's already vortexed and structured, and it has the, you know, the sun's frequencies and the moon's frequencies, and, you know, it has all of that in it. Now, it has been sitting in a still bottle for a while, so you can shake it up, get a spoon, stir it, just kind of revitalize it, bring it back to life, because water is so intelligent, and it is impacted by the movement of the water.
So just by taking something like this and shaking it or moving it a little bit energizes the water?
Yeah, it can definitely energize the water. So, like, put it in a like, the vortexing, spinning is what we're seeing is better. So you might want to, like, put it in somewhere and stir it around. Like, a blender doesn't work that way, because it's kind of just throwing it all up. I mean, that's nice too, because it's moving it, but that spinning, vortexing that nature does is really powerful.
What about like a NutriBullet or something like that kind of spins it around?
Yep. That's wonderful too. There's called water vitalizers, but I just love the vortexers. There's different forms of vortexers. The one I use uses sacred geometry. It uses gold elements and different types of precious stones, because the water's coming in contact with and taking on that information, like a cell phone, you know, it's emitting that information, sending and receiving. So water's constantly communicating with us, sending and receiving information. We are water bodies. That's a reason why I think, you know, you meet someone and you say, does this person resonate? Is their water body who they are? Is it in resonance with mine? We can feel that. It's really powerful. And the more that I start to learn about it, the more excited I get about it.
I'm getting excited. Artful Lish, Christina, hi Christina, said putting it next to you while meditating.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yes. That is beautiful. Absolutely. Hold it next to your heart.
One of the things that I started doing is like sometimes I'll take I'll have my little water that I try to do a couple of these a day, but sometimes I'll just stick it out in the sun because it's glass.
Yeah. Yes. That's wonderful.
What does that do for?
You're activating the water. What one of my mentors, Rumiana Sinkova, she's a double PhD that's studying aquaphotomics. She discovered aquaphotomics, which is a form of science, a new form of science that studies how light impacts water. And she says that you should put your water out in the sun. You don't need to do for long, maybe 5-10 minutes, and it'll make working water more of a break the hydrogen bond, so you have more of that working water in your body.
It's so interesting. Okay, so we now know there's a few different stages that it needs to go through. We filtered it, right? And we gave some options for that. We've remineralized it, so we've added back in what all the filtration takes out of it, and then we're vortexing it, which I don't know if I could do it here, but you want to get your water moving, right? I guess you can, look.
Oh yeah, you definitely can.
You guys see that? Let's see.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Oh my gosh. There we go. Now you're revitalizing it, bringing it back to life.
That's so cool. Yeah. I guess I can just do that. Okay, so is there any other thing that we need? What do you think we need to learn more? What do we need to do? What if somebody doesn't want to, you know, they don't have the money or they don't want to spend the money on the bottled waters? You can do all of this at home, just using the filtration from your sink, right? And then we can add that filtration on. We add a little bit of minerals into it. We spin it. We could put it out in the sunlight. We could meditate next to it, but it changes how that water, you know, reacts to our body.
You are the best person to talk to. Like, you just catch on so quick and get it. I love it. Yeah, and it doesn't need to be that difficult. You know, I like to say 3 steps.
3 steps.
Filter, remineralize, and vortex. To me, that's what my research has shown that really upgrades the water in such a dynamic way that it impacts our cellular structure, helps us with hydration. And then, you know, those other pillars of health, those other 8 pillars, like grounding, sunlight, sleep, movement, creative playtime, connective community, nutrition, these things impact. And then the movement, I think, is one of the fourth one that I would say is so important, because think about your fascial networks as the irrigation system of your body. That's where all the water, like it's able to move through. We've looked at under a microscope and able to see the fascia, and there's little water droplets on it, like it's moving the water.
Which reminds me, if you guys missed that last live I did last Saturday with Lymph Love Club, we talked about the whole lymphatic system and how important that is for health, and to be able to move and flush out all those toxins is super important. And that's what you're talking about right now, Tracy, is that kind of layer of fluid that we have that is movable, right, through our whole system. I love it. Yeah, I love it.
It is. So, you know, definitely focus on all of those things that nature has provided already. Getting an adequate amount of sunlight, getting the movement in, you know, taking your shoes off and grounding to the earth so that those frequencies, that human resonance with our body can help charge our water body. And, you know, getting the nutrition we need, because that nutrition has minerals in it and light energy in it that's going to help charge our cells and hydrate us. All of these things play an important role in hydration.
I love it. I think that that's a really good place to end, because I think we've covered all of the bases. tell everybody where they can find you again.
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram at Tracy Duhs, TracyDuhs, and I can put in my website here, tracyduhs.com. And there you can find my book exclusively on my website. You can't get it on Amazon or anywhere else right now. It's exclusively on my website. And I go through the 9 pillars of health and really explain how to hydrate optimally from what I personally have experienced and seen in my research.
I love it. I love it. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Tracy. And again, you guys, I will post this to my main feed afterwards so you can go back. They'll have all the information. If I add you as a collaborator, do you want to be added as a collaborator so you can answer some of the questions that are coming up?
Absolutely.
I'll make sure that I do that. Thank you so much, Tracy. And when you find out the next piece of evidence, right, what you were looking for, we'll have you back on again. You can explain all that stuff to us.
I would love that. Any way that I can support in your hydration journey and your community's hydration journey makes me so happy, because it impacts every aspect of our health, and we all want to feel good and look good and live our best lives. And from what I've learned, hydration plays such a big role in that it makes me excited to be able to share this good news.
Well, thank you so much for doing that. I've learned so much. I hope you guys all have too. I'll see you guys tomorrow for a demo of some sort at 11 a.m. Tracy, thank you.
Bye.
Everybody have a great rest of your Saturday.
Thank
okay.
You too.
Bye.